Good afternoon. This is Pat Miller, Gabby, and we are here for this week's edition of the GABB with one of my very favorite people, OLAV Peterson of Bittersweet Restaurant. How are you today?
Doing great. Very excited to be on, and just excited for business tonight. We actually are looking kind of busy with the weather changing. So the beginning of the week's been a little bit tight, like a little tough, I would say.
Well, it's interesting because we went from 101 to 30, and both were terrible for patio business.
Right. It was so we didn't have any diners Tuesday or Wednesday. We got some on last night actually, but it has it has been speeding up other things that we've had in the process, getting that little cold snap of weather. So
I think at this point, I mean, I hate to say here we go again. I don't think restaurant people know what to do.
It's kind of, I guess, how do you do this without griping about it, right? And I guess the big thing is that there's always been these aid packages for catastrophes, right? And right now in the restaurant industry, we're having a catastrophe, one of the worst things I think that anybody who's ever owned a restaurant could think of. Danny Meyer was just on NPR, I think last weekend, talking about how bad this has been. I think the latest numbers that came out, 60% of restaurants are planning to close in New York.
Oh, I didn't hear them. But until next week or the end of this month, they weren't allowed to open inside.
No, they just, I think, announced today they're going to do 25% capacity.
Okay, and in New York, that's very little, but they don't have the dining space outside.
No, I just don't know. And like in the confidence, I mean, it's, in the consumer confidence. But the thing, I guess the big thing to me is, how come there's not been a federal relief package of some kind to help save this industry?
I agree.
It was the finance industry, it was the medical industry, if it was the airlines, if it was the banks, if it was the mortgage industry. There's been so many times where there's been a financial crisis that really affects an industry. And on this one, it's just like, well, you guys are restaurant owners, should figure it out.
Yeah, but that's a lot for all that they do and all those that they employ.
Well, I mean, we employ a lot of people.
Right.
And even right now, we're not up to full staff levels yet, but we're getting close. But you know what I mean? Like, as the business owners, we're taking a lot of that burden just because we want to make sure that it works again. And we know that there's a light at the end of this tunnel. At some point, sometime, there's a light at the end of this tunnel, and we'll get there.
God, I hope it's soon.
And we just don't know, like, we just don't know what that date is yet. And that's the thing right now. And if you do own a restaurant and you're, kind of scared about this, there's hope. Like, we will get there eventually. But it's still one of those things that you just have, we have no control over it right now. You just got to roll the punches.
Right. No, I agree. And I think every restaurant person, and as you and I said earlier, you can see them starting to close again more and more. And it's not getting better right now. But on a brighter side, yes. Bittersweet is at 500 East Alameda and Penn in a freestanding building with parking and outdoor patio.
Tons of outdoor patio space. That's been basically our focus. Outdoor dining has been 100% of our focus. We have, in certain circumstances, and we're actually, ironically, starting to get a lot of people asking to sit inside right now.
Because it's colder.
It is getting colder, but even when it wasn't getting colder, people are like, what do you mean you're not sitting inside? Like, I'm fine with sitting inside. I have no problem with that. And as a staff, we've kind of been like, yeah, we want our game plan to kind of keep us separate too, because we kind of have our own bubble. And so we want to keep our bubble, and everybody else's bubble, their bubble. And it's part of all the distancing that we've done. And that's, you know what I mean? But we are starting to see that. And the one thing that's great about this restaurant, though, is that even if you are inside, we have so many windows, so much access to open, free air just coming in and out of the restaurant.
You just heard the same story I did, right?
So we have
thank you television.
There's a restaurant that was designed for this, and that was my wife. She designed a building that had that all that airflow. And we
Because
know,
they're saying leave your doors and windows open
right?
when you come inside because it's bitter.
Yeah, because that airflow is what like dissipates it. You know what I mean? That was the big one we had in. I coached lacrosse. I coached my son's lacrosse team, and we were talking about during all this and during quarantine because that was the start of lacrosse season, and all of us kind of were like, this was the sport built for that. You throw a ball at least 20 yards away from another kid. It's windy as all can be, and that was the thing, and that's what we started looking at, and that's even when we started thinking about bringing the restaurant back. How do we do that? How do we make sure that it's kind of windy, that we have good airflow, that people feel like they're far enough apart from each other so that they feel they're safe enough? And that's the big one for us. I mean, safety is what, if people feel safe, then they come back. It's when they don't feel safe.
I agree.
That's the big one. And I think that's true regardless if it's now or if it was before all of this. I mean,
I agree. If I walked in and I didn't think it looked, let's say, clean,
right,
or what you expect of somebody, I would choose to go someplace else, not
right,
come back.
right.
And I think people are doing that along with all sorts of other crazy things, but still. So will you open indoors or are you just going to stay outdoors?
We're working on that plan as we speak, basically. And I know I have a table or two this weekend that want to be inside. However, with that being said, we are making sure that outside is so amazing. How in the world would you want to eat inside?
Well, I've been to BITTERSWEET.
That's right, and that's been our big focus. And so, like, you know what I mean? We're kind of almost like putting a table heater by each table. And this, wow, how we've really kind of thought about this in the sense of like, we really have thought this has caused us to think outside the box, which has been really fun because my brain and how I work on everything and how I've always kind of looked at this is that, okay, here's this big challenge we got all of a sudden. And we have this big challenge that we're on and we're going to see how this goes. But part of that is that how do we focus on this? How do we really make sure that people still feel safe? And part of that is bringing the warmth outside. So turning on the fireplaces, we set up a table last night for people on the opposite side of the fireplace. So it's not thinking about how the fireplaces are used inside. It's thinking about how the fireplaces are now going to be used outside. So we're setting up tables in areas where the fireplaces that we have that have always, we've been huge items of the restaurant on fixtures, those are now helping to supplement both of our patios and heat. We're then, obviously buying more patio heaters and doing all sorts of different things.
What, the patio, the fireplace in the little dining room?
Yeah. So the fireplace is on the little dining room. Last night we set up a table right up in front of it on the opposite side, so it's still outside. But you're getting so much, those fireplaces provide so much heat to the outside as well that you're getting
an open outside.
Patios on that side over there.
Okay.
Plus patio heaters, plus so we have a lot of stuff that we're doing. I thought about the idea of open fire and I kind of backed down that idea a little bit.
I can understand.
Fire pits and things like that. Yeah, fire codes and just, you never know. You just don't want that to.
Our marshmallows could get near each other.
Right, exactly. So that's just one of those that we just, I'm thinking about that idea, but we have some other fun stuff though planned coming up this fall too.
Okay, well, why don't we talk about some of it? Because I've had the pleasure of getting, I'm just panting.
Right,
I know
so
today's Friday and it's not my turn.
Right, so with the cool down in the weather and kind of seeing that was going to be coming, we were originally planning probably on launching to go more towards the end of September. And we've actually gone ahead and started it quietly as we do everything. And we've done that, we started that actually quietly last weekend. So we're doing to go on Friday and Saturday only right now. And we have a theme for that. And I've always loved the idea and the very French idea of plat du jour. And so on Friday, we'll be featuring roasted chicken.
Okay, I interrupt just because you're about to tell about it. Wait.
Right.
I have never had a roasted chicken any better. It was awesome. 3 of us shared it, and we literally were fighting over it.
Right.
So go on with your dinner.
Right.
The whole dinner was, I want more.
So Chef Jason, basically, I I challenged him with this idea of how are we going to do to go in this restaurant? How is this going to work out? And it's got to be, it can't just be anybody's roasted chicken. So he is working on constant different ideas because it's going to rotate. We'll have different, we'll have different recipes going with this. But this one that we're doing right now, and we're probably going to feature this one pretty much through the month of September because we all loved it so much. But it's a dry rub on the chicken itself. And then it's slow cooked for about 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours.
So
just a little bit at the very end. But I mean, the chicken's amazing, but the sides that are coming with the chicken are equal.
Oh, we fought over every
cornbread, fantastic. The dessert that Brian, our pastry chef, is doing is equally just as like the little decadent cakes that he's making to go with it. So it's not just chicken that we're selling. We're selling you meal, basically, like meal in a box.
What? And well, okay, cornbread to die for.
Yeah.
Chocolate cake to die for. Now you go on with the watermelon. One lady was not about to let us have it.
So it's really simple. It's just a watermelon and feta salad. But we thought about how if you were going to do this and you wanted to have a dinner party, so you come here tonight, you pick these up, you want to set them up for a dinner party. So we're building that salad. So when you flip it out, that makes the salad itself. So also if you save it for the next day, all the dressing, everything's in the bottom of it. So it's not making the top of it soggy. Does that make sense?
Even the watermelon was just,
right. So
and I did not have it that night. My dinner we ate the next day.
How we're building those and building those containers is so that it's optimal when you get it home. So if it does feel something like that you would have had here or something that we would have made here. It might not
be absolutely.
But you're getting the same quality of that. And that's where we know that this particular dinner that we're doing is they're $30 a person. It starts for dinner for 2, but it's really dinner for 2 to 3, possibly 4, depending on how heavy of an eater you are.
No, excuse me.
Me and my chef Jason, though, it's dinner for just the 2 of us, and
I have to interrupt because we are not 2 out of 3. We're women, not great big eaters.
Right.
Let me tell you, we made all gone. I mean, I'm doing that dinner for Rosh Hashanah in a week, which happens to fall on a Friday, thank goodness.
Oh.
So I can pick up dinner.
Okay.
But I mean, if you're entertaining, oh my God, nobody would know you didn't put out the most gorgeous dinner. Right,
and that is really our idea to go. And as we've been talking about this, we know I believe that even past COVID, this is going to kind of turn into its own little monster. And we'll have a certain amount of chickens that we can produce. We can really do dinners. You know, we really have the ability to only do about 12 chickens on Friday.
So you can only have 12 carryouts?
Yeah, probably. That's what we'll be looking towards. I mean, I think if there's a demand for more than that, then we'll see what happens.
I demand.
So, I mean, it's always something that, you know, we want to make sure that we can control the quality, and we know we can.
Oh yeah, I understand that.
At 12 to-go dinners, that's also dinner for 24 people, though, too.
True. And if somebody doesn't know, you get a whole chicken.
Yes.
This isn't like a breast or a piece.
Right.
My chicken in my whole life, I never made a chicken that came out that looked like that. I mean, they've been fantastic. They've turned out great, and they're even good. We had some people that took one camping. They came in and took a camp the next day, and they loved it. They thought it was fantastic. Well, I had it cold the next day, and it was incredible.
Yeah. So that's what I know that a lot of people really. So it's been great. It's been fantastic.
Okay, now, what happens on Saturday?
Saturday we are doing barbecue. So we wanted to kind of have 2 concrete things, but also to have freedom to be creative in those ideas. So roasted chicken being one, the second one being barbecue that we're doing on Saturday. This Saturday, Jason's actually doing bacon wrapped pork shoulder with whiskey peach sauce.
Oh.
Peaches. Oh goodness, and I'm forgetting the rest of it offhand. I know that we're doing, I think, peach cobbler. I'll have all this up on the website, on our website here later on today. Okay. Apple slaw, smoked Gouda mac and cheese,
Oh, you're kidding. How decadent.
Yeah, so we're actually there are things that we are in search of for the mac and cheese, but I think I'll find them today. I want little mason jars so we can send people home with the little mason jars of mac and cheese. They'll just transport better, easier to heat up. You could just toss that in a little boiling water yourself once you get home to reheat it up. But that's what we're looking for those to kind of complete that process. But these are the things. I mean, like Chef Jason's just been doing an amazing job for us. I mean, he's taken on these tasks and these things that we're moving forward. And even Brian, our pastry chef, has just been doing fantastic work too. So, but that's not to take away what's happening in the restaurant as well.
That is my next. Okay, that's my next
really,
question.
truly understand Bittersweet. That's what happens here. And that really happens with our staff. It's that whole idea of pairing art, food, and wine. That is what Bittersweet's always been about. It's what will always continue to be about, even as we get all the way through this. And so that's something that we, you know what I mean? We are so happy that we've been supported. We've been supported in this way right now, and that we have people that are showing up to eat dinner. And even last night, we had people that were, we had a few people in, and I was surprised. It was still cold out last night. We had people that ate outside last night. So,
well, good for them, because your September menu, and I know it changes all the time, is
yes.
fabulous. And people should know that although it's a 4-course menu, you can order a la carte.
Yeah, that was again kind of where we're reinventing. I shouldn't say reinventing Bittersweet, but we're adapting to the constant changes. And part of that is that we had always been knowing for our Thursday tasting menus, and why not bring that back basically in this process where you can now just do it all the time. So in that, to be honest, I mean, we sell tasting menus, I think on Friday and Saturday night, probably are about 75% of what we're selling. Everybody's loving the idea of ordering tasting menus, and the wine pairings have been equally as popular too. And
well, you know your wine.
Well, I know a little bit about wine. I get, as my grandfather used to tell me, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. So that's kind of how I feel about wine too.
All right, you do a pretty good job. Let me tell you.
Well, thank you. So yeah, I think that's one that that's always a hard one. Wine's always constantly ever evolving and changing. So I guess the older you get, the more humble you get with everything.
Well, I think people have such different tastes too, that it's hard. But with your menus, I mean, there's something for everyone at all times.
Right. And that's we always focus on, because we make everything here in-house, there's nothing that we don't produce, such as the easiest one to bring up probably is bread. I would say 90% of restaurants order bread. I would say that's probably, I don't think 10% restaurants make their own bread in-house.
I agree.
Pretty much everybody, buys bread from somebody. My whole career being a chef meant you made everything. So this restaurant has been based off of that. So we make our bread. We make everything here in-house.
Well, and now a lot of restaurants don't even offer bread. You have to buy it.
No, but why? Oh man, it's just, breaking bread is such an important part of the meal.
Yes, as long as you're baking it, I totally agree.
It is the, the funnest part of going to Mexican food when you were a kid was the chips and salsa, right? Because it just kept coming and you could eat as much as you wanted, right? So in a restaurant, when you're coming in to dine, and that's what this is, this isn't a place where you come to eat, this is a place where you come to dine. Bread is the start of, developing your palate. Like it's an important process.
I agree.
And you need to, and I understand where restaurants got away from it and because of the cost of it, but that's why we make it. It's not very expensive. And it takes a while to learn how to make good bread. And the process of making bread here has been a long process. But I mean, our starter is right around 10 years old. So it's, it takes some time.
Your bread is fabulous. And the butter you could just eat with your spoon.
Yeah, that's always been, instead of just regular butter, we've always flavored our butters. And that's always been something that's fun, is we try to kind of, pair the two off together. So it's always been kind of a nice compliment.
Well, and, I know, which I've had the pleasure of eating there, but everything from beginning to end, I mean, you always have something unique. I mean, where it said sushi, it's
yeah,
which I would have anytime.
Right. I've always had a feel for the avant-garde, I guess is the best way to say it. So I've always looked for something that's odd and unique, and whether that's a spirit or wine or food element, or there's what we like to call little surprises on the plates. But you can't have too many of those. And that's kind of where sometimes you can get a little lost.
Overboard, right.
And I think sometimes that when you're young in chefs, and sometimes we have that with young chefs here too, where we've got to sit there and talk about, let's back this down a little bit. Let's think about this a little bit more of this process than this actual too much stuff on the plate. And that's one of the things here that I think we have matured over time too, and gotten more focused on those types of things as well.
And you do take reservations.
Of course, and right now I highly recommend it. And you know, we have paired with an amazing reservation company called Talk. Don't use Open Table anymore; they're horrible.
What are you using?
We use Talk, T-O-C-K, Talk, and they're an amazing reservation service. Everyone in Denver is moving to them. Every restaurant's going away from Open Table. So if you go to Open Table and you're looking for a reservation right now, most likely your favorite restaurant is not there, because Open Table has not been very helpful through this process for anybody.
Is that what, I have no idea why never liked it, but why did it lose popularity?
So Open Table, and what a lot of people didn't know, was the cost of Open Table was about $1 a reservation.
That I know.
And so a lot of restaurants would spend anywhere from, we'll put it this way, a lot of times it'd be the number 2 item on their P&L. So you have rent, labor, and then your biggest expense after that was Open Table. Not a food person, not a utility, nothing else. It'd be Open Table. And for restaurants, that costs, and especially right now, when we really started evaluating everything, we had to change to a different reservation system. And for the public, it's just as easy. They now just go on our website just like they did. It's just a different widget that they hit. But Open Table right now, that has been like, they won't take us off their websites. They won't take other restaurants off their websites. They just basically say, these restaurants don't have reservations. Try one of our other restaurants instead. So that's our big campaign and our big push to sit there and say, no, we're still open. We're right here. Yeah. Talk's been great at supporting us. And the other thing that's great about Talk is they already have a built-in to-go platform for restaurants like me, so that you'll be able to go on here soon next week, go straight to Talk, order everything through them. It comes straight to me. It's seamless. You enter your credit card information that way.
Talk and Toast are 2 different things, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Toast and Talk, though, are partnering. Toast is what is a POS system, and Talk is a reservation system. But anyways, yes.
Because so some of the people say they're ordering through Toast.
Right, and if they're ordering through Toast, it's very similar to Talk. And one of the things that's great about Talk, which is different than some of the delivery services, is they are just doing a transparent credit card processing fee that we already pay. It's nothing added on. There's no added.
This is Talk.
The restaurant's getting the restaurant's getting 100% of the money.
Okay, and this is just order online and pick up.
Yep.
Not delivery.
Exactly, not delivery. And we won't get into the delivery process ever. We will only do order and pick up.
Which I understand.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have the ability to make it real easy for people.
Yeah, you have a
patio,
you walk
we
out.
run the box out to you, toss it in the back of your car, and you're on your way. So it's really, we have a unique, as I was saying before, this restaurant, if there was a restaurant that was built to survive something like this, we were set for that. I mean, the open air space, the inside dining, and then also adding our to-go element to things is really, we are really setting ourselves up to be very successful.
Just for people to know, how old is Bittersweet?
We will turn 10 this coming New Year's Eve. And so that will be a really neat milestone to hit, is 10 years old. So we are currently not.
And we'd all come celebrate, but we're not allowed to dine.
Right, I know. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there on our 10th anniversary. Maybe we're just sending out a lot of to-go dinners that night. I don't know.
Well, that's fine. I mean, except that
I'd rather
spend it with you.
I mean, the craziest part about this is that maybe we send out all of our to-go dinners, and I'm home by 7 o'clock on New Year's Eve.
And you get to see your child and
even
dogs and
that's never happened. To be honest, I don't know when that's in the past 20 years or so that I've ever had that
Well,
ability.
that's what happens when you're a chef.
That's true. That is very, very true. But I mean, that's why we do this. We're in the hospitality industry, and to be honest, everybody who's in this industry would much rather be working every single night.
Absolutely.
Valentine's Day, they are dying to have people come back and eat with us again. And the thing is that I mean, we went through the precautions of we partnered with a company called OLAV that set us up with 90-second sanitizer. It was that they were the first one to the market that had a sanitizer that didn't take 15 minutes to kill COVID. So we hit everything with that all the time in the restaurant. We try to keep it a little bit not so spray it in your face. You know what I mean? We want to make sure that it's done a little bit more on the sideline, so it doesn't. So you still feel like you're just dining.
Okay, look, I'm a customer, so all
Right.
I can say is yours is one of the very few places that I frequent happily. I have no problem. Your staff is incredible. I feel very safe. It was always spotlessly clean and great, but it still is. And it's just like when you go here, and I watch the people 6 or 7 feet away from me, but they're all very happy. I
Yeah.
took the adult children there for a birthday. They're still talking about it. I mean, it's the best. And the roast chicken is to die for.
It is, and I mean, and like you're saying, the dining experience that people are having right now is amazing. And the greatest thing that I'm hearing from most people is that they are saying to us, it's making me forget about this.
Absolutely. You
I come
want to
here, I
get
feel
away
like
from
I'm
it.
back, like I feel like before this all happened. And one of the comments that they said to us was that, we never went with a QR code on the tables. We just said simply, our website is now our menu, which has gone over great with people.
Right.
And one of the things people have said is that not having that taped to my table has made it such a better experience, because that's this constant reminder of the time that we're in. And I never even thought about that. And it was just something unconscious that we did that we just never really, we had it set up, we just never really enacted it. And those kind of little things, and those little touches right now, I think are really what, it's what the world needs to feel, just even if it's for 2 hours, like just take a load off.
Well, yeah, just get me out of here.
That's what we do.
I used to just adore my house, but
Anyway.
Anyway.
I think everybody's starting to feel a little bit that way. So
Yeah, well, I adore where I live and everything about it, but enough is enough. 24/7 is a lot, but in the meantime, I for one can say everything you're doing in delivery, whatever, is fabulous. But give all the info again before it's time to leave.
Yes, so we are Bittersweet on Alameda in Pennsylvania, 500 East Alameda specifically. Phone number is 303-942-0320. If you are wanting those chickens or barbecue, call that phone number right now.
One is sold for the 18th.
Yours are I've already got those put aside. That's a done deal.
Okay.
But coming up probably this weekend, we'll have everything ready, set up online. You can order online. It'll come to us that way as well too. It'll just be a little bit easier for everybody. So
give the web page.
BittersweetDenver.com.
And you're open what days?
We start dinner service at 5 o'clock Tuesday through Saturday.
I think we've got it.
Perfect.
And delivery things along with that.
Right now, Friday, Saturday, we will have a to-go option.
Okay. You are wonderful. Bittersweet is fabulous. And it's just been a treat. And I'm dreaming of my next roast chicken.
Well, thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. Love you dearly. Have a great day. And to everybody, be safe and get to Bittersweet. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a great day. All right, bye.